There are some superstars who were right in our faces at the beginning of 2024, but somewhere along the line, they just seem to drop off the face of the earth. Those are the guys we'll be talking about in this video today. These are 10 players who disappeared in 2024. Let's start with Simon Kjaer. You probably remember him from his time at Sevilla for captaining the Denmark national team, or for being a real hero when Eriksson collapsed during the Euros in 2021. He moved to Milan in 2020 and helped them win the Scudetto in 2022, but he retired in January 2025, 6 months after his contract with the Rossoneri expired. But since he left Milan, it seems like Kjaer just disappeared, and the fact that he hardly posts on his Instagram doesn't really help. Another defender who seems to have disappeared is Raphael Varane. At the start of last year, Varane was playing for Manchester United, but by the time 2024 was wrapping up, it felt like no one had heard about him for a while. He had moved to Como in the summer of 2024, signing a 2-year deal with the club managed by Cesc Fabregas. But because of his incessant injuries, he was excluded from the Serie A squad list in August and then went on to announce his retirement in September. Since he retired, he hasn't tried to get into coaching, the media, or anything so far. Maybe he's just taken a break from football before he decides what to do next. But not all of the players in this video are retired. Some are still active, like Sergi Roberto for example. The former Barcelona captain left Spain and moved to Como in 2024, but he struggled with injuries which have put him out of our screens for some time. He has missed 13 games due to injury in his first season at Como, so it just feels like he disappeared. Who knows, maybe the injuries will force him to retire like Varane. I mean, he's older than Varane anyway. Let's now talk about Jose Lu. This guy joined Real Madrid in 2023, came off the bench in the semi-finals of the Champions League to score a winning brace against Bayern Munich, won the Champions League and La Liga with Madrid, earned his first Spain call-up and went to win the Euros, and in 2024 he just disappeared. He had one of the greatest seasons for a late bloomer and just disappeared by moving to the Middle East. And he didn't even move to Saudi like most players from Europe are now doing. He decided to go to Qatar to join Al Gharafa. Since then, we haven't heard much of him again. And you know who this reminds us of? Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Just last year, he was leading Marseille to the semi-finals of the Europa League while becoming the all-time top scorer in the history of the competition. Everyone thought he still had more in his locker and was going to keep going, but boom, he decided to leave Europe in the summer, moving to Al Qadsiya in Saudi Arabia. There's another former Dortmund striker who belongs on this list, and we'll talk about him in a second. Now let's talk about Sebastian Haller. In early 2024, this dude was on top of the world. He came back from injury to score the winning goal for Côte d'Ivoire in the AFCON final on home soil. Everyone thought heroics like that would relaunch his career, but it did not. Instead, Dortmund loaned him out to newly promoted Legan in the summer. Guess what? He started just 5 La Liga games and disappeared. Things were going so badly for him in Spain that his loan deal was torn up prematurely and he was then loaned out to Utrecht in the Netherlands. We bet you didn't know that happened. Now, what about Thiago Alcantara? He retired from professional football in 2024, and shortly after, he joined the staff of his former coach Hansi Flick at his former club Barcelona. It felt like a match made in heaven. He can speak German, Spanish, Catalan, and English, so he was surely going to help the communication in the dressing room, especially with Flick not yet able to speak Spanish or Catalan. But shortly after he joined, he left, and that's the last the football world has heard of him. Well, he looks like a man who's interested in coaching, so he'll probably be back. But right now, his Instagram tells us that he's busy skiing and learning how to make coffee. Now, that is exactly how to disappear from the footballing space. Now, from one former Barcelona player to another, let's talk about Philippe Coutinho. Since he left Barcelona, it has been downhill from there, but at least we remember his stint at Aston Villa, don't we? Well, he's still a Villa player, but he's just out on loan to Vasco da Gama in Brazil, the club where it all started for him. When players start to return to their boyhood clubs, you just know that the end is nigh. But while retirement looms, Coutinho seems to be fading from the memories of fans really fast. Anyway, speaking of former Barcelona players in Brazil reminds us of, no, not Neymar. Neymar surely didn't disappear. We're talking about Memphis Depay. pie. The Dutchman was an Atletico Madrid player and was leading the Netherlands attack at the Euros just last year, but now he's playing in Brazil. Simeone didn't seem to want him anymore, so both parties decided to part ways, leading Memphis to explore the continent of South America. He moved to Corinthians in 2024, and it feels like since then, most fans have just forgotten that he still plays football. We'll now wrap up with Diego Costa. He has been a household name for the longest, but right now, no one knows where Costa is anymore or what he's up to. He just disappeared. As of last year, he was playing for Grêmio in Brazil and was supposed to be the Luis Suarez replacement, but he left last year and is now without a club. Perhaps that retirement announcement will be coming soon. Are there more players who just disappeared in 2024? Drop their names in the comments.